If you want to know about CFE-223, this is the video for you. Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm back with Guy Miner. Thank you for joining us, Guy.
You bet. This is fun stuff.
Absolutely. And we are here to talk about
today's powder, CFE-223.
That's right. CFE stands for copper fouling eraser.
Right.
And this is a 223 burn rate powder. And you know what that means? It's also a 308 burn rate powder. And a lot of cartridges in between. This is a ball powder, and that means it's going to meter well.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually done some loading with this.
Very nice to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was using my Lyman, the old manual powder measure.
Yep.
And worked out just really well. That thing was throwing charge after charge after charge that were on the money. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
You got to love that about ball powders, and it's nice to know with CFE that you don't have to worry about as much copper accumulation in your barrel.
Exactly. That's good stuff for target shooters who are shooting many, many rounds, and also for like high volume varmint shooters, the guys that go hit sage rats and things.
Yep. Available in 1 pound and 8 pound canisters. Let's talk burn rate. This is a good place to start, right? Where is this powder focused? We already said that this is a 223 burn rate powder, so let's look at a range on the chart.
Sure. And, you know, we took a look basically from around the Reloader 15, accurate 25-20 level, on up to Ramshot Big Game and Vitavari N 540. It's right in there. I used to load a lot of that Ball C2 and ran out of that and found out that this is almost exactly the same burn rate. It's very, very close. And that was a nice change. Yeah, it's an updated powder. It's a better powder for me. Both of them were good.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're talking about 223, I really like Varmint for 223, but there is a downside when you've got an extruded powder and you've got a 22 caliber case neck, and that is bridging.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if you have a little bit of case lube around the circumference of the case mouth. The powder granules come down, they stick to the lube, they bridge up in the drop tube or whatever it is you're using as a funnel, and sometimes you have to tap, 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 and then the granules fall, the powder goes down into the case. With a ball powder like CFE-223, you're really not going to have that problem.
It is so sweet. So the Varmint works great for shooting, but for the hand loader, I love the ball powders for this kind of thing, especially in 223. I was using it in the 204, which is even tighter neck. It's hard to get that stick powder in there properly. For me, it is.
Sure. And if something else is going to work that meters better and that pours better, why worry about it? So let's talk about the different cartridges that we've loaded with CFE-223 and some of the research that you did as well. Because this is a more versatile powder than I had realized.
I was stunned when I started looking at it because I figured it was going to be great, obviously, for the 223. I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah, exactly.
So 223, and I figured other things about that size, you know, 222, 204, those kinds of cartridges I thought would work great. Then I started looking through Hodgdon's reloading manual and seeing where all I could find CFE-223. My goodness, 6 Creed, 6.5 Creed, moving on up into there. 30-30 Winchester, who knew?
Yeah, really.
308 Winchester.
I've used it in 308, yeah.
It looks like a really good powder for that. 30-06 has some applications, 150 grain bullets. And I kept flipping out of curiosity, and I ended up with one of my big old favorites, the 375 H&H, and there's a really good load for that with the 235 grain spear bullet.
So you might have to try that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now every powder has a sweet spot. And you were telling me that basically lighter bullets for cartridge are maybe where this powder is at its absolute best.
That's what it seems to me, just from doing the research I was looking at, is that it seems to really shine with that. I found some good looking heavier bullet loads for like 223, but by and large, yeah, 150 grain with the .6. It's kind of on the lighter end for hunting.
So
with the .6. Oh yeah, it's probably a 3,000 foot per second load or close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of thing. It tends to work better, from what I can tell, with the lighter bullets. Time will tell. I'll do some more loading with it.
Now on the equipment side, when you're loading on a progressive, which people tend to do for 223, that whole metering aspect becomes more important. The consistency of the powder charge, because you're obviously not going to want to trickle. And then its ability to fall from the measure down into the case neck, not get bridged up, because nobody likes it when you're at the top of the stroke, you lower things, and all of a sudden you get this tidal wave of powder. It's pretty frustrating with that when that happens. So CFE-223, really good for, I think, the progressive application, and maybe for those loads favoring lighter bullets. Next, we're going to use this microscope to take a really close look at CFE-223. So let's take a look at some powder granules under the microscope. What we've got here is a Wi-Fi 400 power microscope. You can see here we've got a live view of what's going on. And if we zoom in here, we can see our granules. Now, what powders do we have here from left to right?
We've got Ramshot Magnum.
Okay.
And we've got CFE-223, Varmint, and H4198.
So ball, extruded, and looking under the microscope. Now, there's kind of a funny story here. Last time, Guy and I went to go put some powders under the microscope. We had static electricity. We had the Magnum was flying all over. It did not want to sit where we wanted it to sit next to the other powders.
No, it was not playing nice with us.
So this time, I went over to the milling machine and I made essentially an aluminum egg carton on a microscopic scale. So you can see these little cups here. Things are nicely compacted and contained in each of those little compartments. And looking at these, from the naked eye here, you can see that the tick marks there are 1/64 of an inch. We've got this steel scale there. It looks like the Magnum and the CFE-223 have about the same diameter ball in terms of how their granules are formulated.
Yes, yeah, it looks about the same size.
But it's a little bit different between the Varmint and the 4198, looks like.
Yeah, the Varmint looks like logs. It's way bigger than the 4198.
Yep. And I would say stick length looks roughly comparable. Diameter is definitely way larger on the Varmint. But what I think we should do is we should take this to post-production. We're going to take these granules and compare them against the steel scale. We'll get some exact figures. So why don't we do that next?
Sounds good.
Okay, so what I did is literally in Photoshop, I copied this steel scale. We put it up to the different granules and we got some dimensions, which you can see here. So as we expected, Magnum and CFE-223, very, very close. I'm showing them 1/1000th difference in diameter. Truth be told, I can't really see that well, even at 400 power magnification.
But they're really close.
Yes.
They look close and they measured out close.
Yep. And interestingly enough, between Varmint and H4198, as we expected, they were too hard to tell a difference from. So we're calling those, 22 for CFE-223, 23 for Magnum, and then 59/1000ths of an inch in length. We didn't really try and get the diameter on those. That's a little bit hard to get unless you can stand it up on end, right? Well, I guess we could go across the side.
We could,
yeah. The length is kind of the governing factor, really, for the dimension there. But a lot less in diameter, you can see just looking at it visually.
And that length is real important. If you look at some of the older extruded powders that were really long sticks and the problems they caused in powder measures, it was difficult.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
chopping sticks.
Oh yeah, crunch.
Yep.
Yeah. I like the shorter sticks better, and obviously I like the ball powders a lot.
Yeah.
They go through those measures so nicely.
Yeah. The only downside I can think of to a ball powder is if you're using a powder check that uses the little tamper foot, it can more readily stick to that tamper.
Oh.
RCBS lockout die, double Alpha Academy magnetic powder check, and so on and so forth. And when it lifts up out of the shell casing, it can drop and then start to accumulate powder around your shell plate, and it's just a part of volume reloading if you're using a powder check. Varmint and other types of powders tend to not do that as much. So let's wrap up. This is a ball powder. It's got the fouling eraser. So with copper jacketed bullets, with plated bullets, that's definitely going to be a nice attribute to have.
Yes.
And definitely really, really good metering.
Yeah. harped on that a little bit on this, but it's just such a pleasure to use a powder that flows that easily.
Yep.
And I'm interested in shooting it more, finding out how that copper fouling diminishes perhaps in the barrel.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I haven't shot enough of it to know yet, but
sounds
it's
like a
supposed
good
to help.
torture test. Sounds like a good excuse to shoot a whole bunch someday.
Yeah.
I've talked to Hodgdon about that, and there's some good ways to demonstrate that with some different cleaning techniques and, you know, looking for copper residue, that sort of thing. So limitations-wise, we talked about it's probably better on the lighter side rather than the heavier side in terms of optimal burn rate.
It appeared that way from the data.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a big hard research thing on that, but from looking at it, what the data is available, yeah.
Yep.
Lighter bullets tend. The one that sticks with me though is there's Hodgdon lists I think it's an 80 grain 223. It's obviously a long range target load. That would be fun to play with.
Yeah.
And see how it does.
So there's a question for you all: is have you found that to be the case? Do you favor lighter bullets with CFE-223 in the 223 cartridge application, for instance, or have you found it to work really well across multiple bullet weight categories?
Yeah.
Drop a comment. We'll discuss it. And best for smaller varmint type cartridges, 204 Ruger, 223 Remington, but all the way up to 375 H&H, like you said.
That amazed me when I found that 375 load. It was like, holy cow! And I will try that load.
Yep.
So
what are we doing next? What's your next step? You've loaded up 204, so you're going to do a little bit more work with that, I presume.
Yep. You mean next before we go blow up rock chucks?
Oh, well, yeah, that's a good next step.
Okay.
The ammo is loaded, so we should go do. And the rock chucks have just come out, actually.
Excellent.
Good timing.
Excellent. Okay.
Really good timing. I'm gonna say I'm gonna try this in the 223 or the 22-250.
Excellent.
I've already done it in the 223. I've already done it in 308. So that might be another.
There's some 22-250 stuff out there. Yeah,
Yep.
that would work. Okay.
Maybe we can compare notes between the 204 and the 22-250.
That'd be a fun shootout.
Screamers, right?
Yes.
Up towards 4,000 and over 4,000 feet per second.
Yeah, they do. They move those light bullets really fast.
Yep. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next and what we've done. Question for you is, what are you using CFE-223 powder for? Tell us what cartridge you're loading, what bullet and bullet weight, what you're shooting it through, and what you're shooting. Are you shooting targets? Are you shooting, game, whether it be varmints or small game? Tell us what you're doing with it.
Or big game.
Or big game, yeah. Actually, if you're shooting 308 or 375, absolutely, right?
Yeah, I have shot a rock chuck with the 375. That worked.
I did shoot a rock chuck with a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum one time. You use what you have on hand, right?
Poor rock chucks.
Yeah, poor rock chuck. He didn't last long. Okay, that concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later because I'm off to go shooting.